Welcome back, everybody. Today I want to be talking about manifesting and mental conditioning. Those are two, to me they're one and the same. It's all part of the whole positive thinking, put it out there in the atmosphere, good things will come back to you mentality. So I kind of want to get into like the scientific approach of it, at least of what I've been told. As I mentioned before, I work at a rehab center, so I get the opportunity to pick the brain of like really top-notch therapists. They're working with teens with addiction, and they really help with their mental state of why they got addicted and things like that. Anyways, so I get the opportunity to pick their brain, and one day I was talking to one of the therapists, and he was telling me about what's called mental conditioning. And he told me an interesting story that I completely relate to, and so I knew exactly what he was talking about, and I was like, wow, that's me exactly. I do that exact same thing all the time. He was telling me how, like for example, his mother, his whole life would say, oh, I'm horrible at remembering people's names. I'm just the worst at remembering people's names. And so she never was able to remember anybody's name. Her whole life it was always a struggle to try to remember anybody's name. If she'd met him before, and then she'd meet him again, she just had no clue what their name was. And I can relate to that because I've always been the same way. I've always said I suck at remembering people's names. I just can't remember anybody's name the first time I meet them. I try and it just doesn't work. And then I realized, like I started thinking about it once he told me about it. I started thinking about that, and I was like, I've gotten to the point now where if I meet someone for the first time, I don't even try to remember their name. They'll shake my hand, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I just don't even pay attention to that because I'm like, I'll never remember your name. I won't remember it. So there's no point in me even trying. Like, we'll just get past it. If I meet you again, I'll just call you buddy or whatever, and then maybe eventually down the road, if I meet you enough, I'll remember your name. So he talked about how that is a condition. We're conditioning our mind to think that. If you keep telling yourself over and over again, I'm horrible at remembering names, I'm horrible at remembering names, I'm horrible at remembering names, eventually your brain is going to say, you're horrible at remembering names, we're not going to remember names for you. And you're conditioning yourself to actually believe that, to actually be that way. So I want to relate that to getting our bodies in shape and taking care of ourselves. It's totally, completely applicable. How many times have you said, I just can't lose weight? No matter what I do, no matter how much I run on the treadmill, no matter what I eat, I just can't lose weight. Or, I just can't put on any muscle. I've been the same weight since I was in high school. I just can't put on any muscle. We really start to condition ourselves to believe, to be a certain way, to think a certain way. And so his theory, and maybe he had heard this theory somewhere else, but what he was explaining to me was we have to condition ourselves to think another way. So instead of telling yourselves, oh, I can't do that, what we need to do is we need to speak to ourselves as if we are already doing what we want to be good at. So instead of saying, I really want to be better at remembering people's names, we need to tell ourselves, I'm great at remembering people's names. I remember everybody's names. Actually, what he suggested was recording your voice so you could actually hear your own voice telling you, oh, you're great at, I'm great at remembering names. I remember everybody's names. First time I meet them, it's locked in. I'll remember their name. And listen to it 20 to 30 times a day. Listen to it over and over again so you can constantly hear your own voice in your head telling you you're good at this. Same thing goes with losing weight. Oh, I can lose weight. Oh, all it takes is me just doing the exercise and boom, the weight falls right off. Oh, I can put on muscle. If I'm eating right, taking protein, lifting weights, going to the gym, I'm going to put on muscle, no problem. I truly believe in that. There's obviously a science behind it in that aspect where you're conditioning your brain to think one way. But also there's more of like a connection, I guess, spiritually, if you're positive towards yourself and telling yourself these things. And that's where like this manifest thought and theory comes in. And I have this friend, and she is the queen of manifestation. Like anything that happens, she's like, I manifested it. Any good or bad. If it's bad, she's like, well, I was thinking bad thoughts. I manifested that bad thing to happen. She never gets stressed out about it because she's like, I made it happen. Anything that good happens, yeah, I manifested that. I woke up this morning, I said this great thing was going to happen, and boom, it happened. And I do absolutely believe in that. I do believe in putting positive and love and inspiration out into the atmosphere so that you can receive it back. And so I've been working on that part of it. The conditioning part I actually had done for a while, especially with losing my weight. I would just tell myself, like, no, you're going to lose weight. You are taking in less calories than what you're burning, so there's no question about it. The science is proven you're going to lose weight. And I'd always just told myself, you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose weight. That's just what you're doing. And I never hit that plateau that everyone talks about, that everyone fears. And I think I mentioned that on my first video, how a lot of people talk about this plateau and they expect it and they tell themselves, well, I'm eventually going to hit it, I'm eventually going to hit it. And then they hit it and they're like, well, I'm here, I'm stuck. We've seen it on The Biggest Loser a million times. Every episode, at the very beginning, everyone's all, whoa, when am I going to hit the plateau? They're mentally conditioning themselves to hit this plateau, and then once they've hit it, now they've convinced themselves, I have to stay in it for a while. I'm stuck here for a while. Now, there's probably some medical backing to that, but I can tell you from personal experience, I never hit that. I just went straight through it. I think the mental conditioning part of that is huge. To just tell yourself, I'm putting in the work, I'm doing what it takes to have this happen, so the results of what I want are going to happen. So back to manifesting.